Welcome back to BTS Queens FFs. This is the complete work of fan fiction. One looked at pregnancy test in her trembling hands as fear overtook her. It was a mistake made during a moment of passion with her mafia husband. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she considered the consequences. How would she break the news to him? Jungkook had never shown any affection towards her. Or if he didn't want this baby either. One's mind was in turmoil. She was filled with sadness and despair. She didn't know what to do. She was staring towards the pots without blinking, her eyes lost in her own thoughts. Nona, can you pass me the ball, please? The babish voice of a child snapped her out of her thoughts as she wiped her eyes. She didn't even realize when she starts crying as she moved her face towards the other direction only to see a cute little baby boy staring Gwen with his doe eyes. Yes, what happened, baby? She smiles as she asked him in a cute voice in attempt to muster his tone and give him a sense of comfort. The ball, he pointed beside Swain. Wayne was sitting outside in hospital lobby on a chair as Swain also looked towards the direction and immediately gave him his ball, making him smile in happiness. Thank you, but instead of leaving, he stayed there. One blinks. Do he need something else? That comes in her mind. What happened, love? She asked him. Don't cry, Nona. You don't look good while crying. One heart wells up as she laughs, while tears of pain roll down her eyes. She leans forward and creases his cheeks, lightly. Thank you, little one, she murmured softly. I was struggling with a decision. She looks in her bag and gave him a chocolate, making him more happy. You're so sweet, Nona. Bye. With that, he left from there, and with a heavy sigh, Vina also wiped tear stain from her cheeks. She knew what she wants now. One went back in her house. No, her husband's house. That house one never hurts. She chuckles spitefully to herself, looking towards the four walls, which was supposed to be her house, her safe place, her living heaven, but it never became that. It was evening. Jungkook was not home yet, though he always came back home late. She sighs and went towards her bedroom, knowing his decision about this coming later one is based on future of the marriage life as well. One looks down at the four walls of the bedroom and feels a sense of emptiness. It's supposed to be her home, but it doesn't feel like it at all. She sighs, feeling a mix of sadness and frustration. It's late into the evening and her husband Jungkook is still not home. That's not unusual. He is usually home late, but this time it feels like he's avoiding her. One went towards washroom and took a bath in attempt to feel better, but that doesn't help too. Coming downstairs, she straight went towards the kitchen. Maids was already preparing food, but Gwen was craving for something savory. Aunt Han, can you make something savory? She asked the head cook, who smiled warmly and not immediately beginning to prepare a special savory dish for Wyan. The aroma of spices and herbs filled the kitchen, making Gwen's stomach grumble in anticipation. As she waits, Gwen decides to take a seat at the table and reflect on her plan to tell Jungkook about her pregnancy. But she was not sure either Jungkook respond positively to the news or not. Surprisingly, Jungkook returned just on time when the dinner was serving. Master, can I also take a plate for you on table? She asked Jungkook, who was passing from there. When heart clenched to hear his answer, she was already feeling down and she don't want to see his mad or disappointed look. So simply she didn't look up. Jungkook looked towards Maid and then Gwen, who was sitting alone on dining table with lower head, her face off without any expressions. Please bring it for me too. His tone was cold like usual, but not rude. One heartbeat stopped as she forced herself to look towards him as their eyes meet for a brief moment. There was a battle going on inside Ryan, and she was afraid if he will read her expressions, and she immediately averted her gaze towards her plate. They both sat there on their respective seats. The silence between them was deafening as they sat at the table, neither one speaking a word. One felt a sense of helplessness and hopelessness, knowing that there was nothing she could say. They had never really spoken before, so what could she even say now? She sighed sadly as she continued to eat her meal. However, Jung seems lost in his own thoughts, completely oblivious to the tension in the room. Just after taking a few bites, one wants to throw up. She puts a hand in her mouth, pushing plate backwards. She got up from her seat and ran towards washroom. Jung fronts a pulse beat in his forehead to see this as he immediately followed her behind. What's wrong? Are you okay? He knocks on the door, but Wan was handling her own self. There was continuous noise of throwing up, clearly indicating there was something wrong, or either she was sick. You're scaring me, Wan. What's wrong? He yelled this time. Wan didn't respond, and anxiousness was increasing with every passing second in Jaguk. Before he controlled himself, he broke the door with two powerful strides and rushed towards pale Wan in washroom. His face was covered with tears, and she was still throwing up. He immediately went behind her as he gathered her hairs in a ponytail, while rubbing her back soothingly. It's okay, I'm here. He rubs her back in a soothing manner, and warmth spread in one's stomach. Like a warm blanket, she sobs, turning towards him. He can see she's drained and out of energy as he helped her getting up and wash her face as well. One was suddenly feeling so numbed and drained of energy. Did you eat something wrong? He was putting a rubber band around her hair after making a ponytail, very clearly visible on his facial features. When they stared at him without responding, not knowing what to answer, would she lie or say the truth? Past memory from almost more than a month ago came in her mind. Don't make your hopes so high, woman. What happened was no more than a mistake. One who was happy earlier. Her heart breaks badly as if someone take her heart out of her and crushed it without any mercy. Her eyes burned with unshed tears, but she refrained herself to not cry. They were married for more than a year now, and how she have managed to drag this marriage this long, she don't even know herself. But it was true, she had just dragged it this long. The old man who was lively, who always looks happy, who was talkative, and who always tried to make others happy, was completely changed now. This one was called emotionless. When did she last time smile? She don't even know. When she was getting married, she have high hopes for her married life, just like every normal girl with big dreams in her eyes. But as soon as she stepped in the life of her mafia husband, he crushed her dreams, smile, even all colors from her life. Now she was alive, but just like the mannequin or a doll, who don't have emotions or either don't know how to show those emotions anymore. He breaks her. She was a beautiful bird, but he clipped her wings and caged her in his big mansion. Now she was no more than a prisoner or a caged bird under these big four walls. All the memories was roaming in her mind. How many times she tried to get his attention and how he responded. She remembered everything. Whenever she thinks they are taking one step forward towards their relationship, it ended up taking two steps backwards. No matter how many efforts she put it in this marriage, but it seems like nothing works. All these memories start coming back in her mind, giving her headache and pain. At this point, she don't even know where she was still living with him. She blinks only to see him in front of her, who was wiping her cheeks with a worried look. Was she crying? She didn't even realize. She stared at him for a brief moment. Don't get happy when he's pretending. Her brain shake her, making her snap to reality as she immediately take a step away from him. Then a good startle of her sudden change in demeanor as he blinks, trying to figure out what happened suddenly. What's wrong? Wen tried to speak, but no words came out of her lips. Are you not feeling well? Is it hurting somewhere? Let me call doctor. He took out phone from his pocket and put phone on his ear before dialing someone's number. Doctor came my house now. His words was short as always. One stare him and then laugh on his acting, making him frown. What's funny? One who was laughing wiped her eyes facing towards him. You are funny, Jungkook, she chuckled, swiping the edge of her eye as she got up to leave and almost stumbled. But before she lost balance, he immediately hauled her. Where are you doing, Wan? Please take seat. One snapped her arm away from him. Stop pretending you care for me, John, when we both know what's reality, she snapped, getting angry. Her elf expression long gone. Probably she was done with him at this point too. His eyes widened to witness a new side of her. You're really not fine, well, let's wait. Doctor is coming, let him check. When grits her teeth as she pulled her arm away from him. I told you, Jungkook, stop pretending you care for me. Moreover, I can take care of myself like always. Just do what you always do, ignoring me. She snapped in fury and stormed her feet away from him. A week passed. One was ignoring Jungkook as if he didn't exist. Normally, he's the one who do it this, but this new side and action of Wen was hurting something inside him too. He tried to talk with her, or at least convinced her to see a doctor after he saw her feeling nauseous a few times. But Wen was not ready to listen or do what he was telling her. Wen was passing by Jungkook's office when she heard someone howling in pain. Her eyes widened, and being the curious kitten that she is, she peeked through the tiny hall between door to see what's happening, but what she saw inside struck her heart. Her eyes widened in fear and shock. On the floor, there was a man crying while begging in drowning. One's eyes widened as fear took over her nerves and gas left her mouth, getting Jungkook's attention, who immediately looked towards the door. When threw the glass of water in her hand and ran away from there for her dear life. She knew better than anyone what kind of job her husband do and what outcomes to eavesdrop and sneak in his conversation. Entering in her room, she immediately locked, knowing very well Jungkook had followed her behind. When opened the door, he yelled while banging the door. When shuddered, she hated this side of him. When he got angry, though he never showed his side to Wan. But she have seen him yelling and ordering his guards and other employees openly, and it scared Wan to go. And what she saw earlier was extremist. She bawled herself sitting in bed as wrapped her arm around her legs. She was behaving platonically different, that unusual, and her pregnancy hormone were also not helping the situation. To say she was scared of him, it could be an understatement. This was the basic reason why she was scared to tell him about her pregnancy at first place. She heard the jiggles of keys, making her eyes widen and frightened as she placed her hand around her ears and closed her eyes tightly, as if preparing herself for any worst scenario and outcomes. Jungkook burst inside the room, but his heart breaks to see her like this. He can tell by just standing close to the door how much scared was she at the moment, and the visible trembling of her body was a clear indication of her fear. His feet stopped one place. Don't hurt me, John. I'm not alone, she murmured in panic without realizing what she just said. When? He murmured softly, I won't hurt you, baby. Please relax. When shakes her head as no. Please leave from here. When please relax. Please trust me. Did I ever hurt you before? Its words strike something, making her loosen a bit. But she don't know what words she's speaking, and slowly her eyes closed. Jungkook ran towards her. Few hours later, Jungkook rubs his face, looking towards Wayne, who was still unconscious. A silent tear rolled down his eyes as his own demons and battles to fight with. And when he thought he was protecting her by keeping her away from him, he was just destroying her more. Doctor checked her earlier and told everything to him. She was beyond stressed. He remembered her earlier words. Don't hurt me, John. I'm not alone. She was pregnant. with his child, and she knew about it even words. She was afraid he will hurt her. A bitter chuckle left his mouth. He sighed and went towards balcony for some fresh air. Water. He heard her murmur and immediately went inside and make her drink water as one slowly opened her eyes only to see her husband in front of her. Her fear came back at once. Please relax. I won't hurt you, I promise. One blinks but relaxed a bit for a few minutes. Most of them were quiet. The tension between them high. You said I'm not alone, are you? What do you mean by that? He asks softly, but her beat faster in pace. I never said that. You did. Great then. It's nothing that will concern you. She snapped, turning her face to the side. He stayed quiet for a few minutes as if finding right words to speak. Doctor checked you earlier. When I immediately looked towards him with wide eyes, immense, he knew by now everything. That was why he was questioning. Was he going to say I was mistaken again? I don't want it. She starts feeling emotional as her eyes turn glossy, but she knew no matter what, she can't do that. Let's try watching cook. His eyes widened in shock, hearing her words. What? What did you just say? You heard me just fine, and I mean it. How could you? He was out of words. Just after knowing you're expecting our first child, when chuckles vitally. As if you care, Jungkook, you do you? When was the last time we behaved like couples? Is there anything between us like normal couple? Oh, and about first child, do you even remember what you said? It was a mistake, her words echoes in room. She wiped patch of her eyes. Doctor have told him she have panic attacks because of extreme stress. Was this the reason of her panic attack? Was she thinking about this all this time? I didn't forget my humiliation and disrespect. Only she knew how badly her heart was itching, just talking and remembering about that incident. I didn't mean it that way. It was not my intention. He remembered, like the back of his palm, the blissful and perfect day which he still remembered. He just said those words because he was afraid. Being in mafia means your life is in risk 24/7. Anything can happen to you, and by any chance, if your enemy got to know about your family and weakness, they will do everything to harm her. And when was both his family and his weakness as well? She can tell herself, other than being distant, he was not a bad husband. She thinks he never pays attention, but that was wrong. Because in reality, he paid attention to every tiny details regarding her, from color of her toenails to dress, earrings, and hairstyle. Everything. He can tell with closed eyes which day she wore what, which day she was happy, sad, or emotional. How does she found everything she's craving for without even asking for it? How her wish fulfilled anonymously. He protected her from far till now, but it seems like he almost ruined everything in his attempt. I do care when I do care about everything regarding you. When she shakes her head as a tear strain roll down her cheeks. I never mean to humiliate or disrespect you. Please believe me, Wyan. Stop acting, Jungkook. You're hurting me. He desperately reached to her as he cupped her cheeks and wiped her tears. To his luck, she didn't push him away this time. Trust me, I'm not lying. Not now, not this time. Not about this biggest happiness of my life, love. Please trust me, Wyan. He also sobs out. It was the first time Wyan saw him crying, and it twinged something inside her. Don't cry. It looks awful. He nods, but he was still crying. When did you find out about your pregnancy? He also asked softly after silence of a few minutes. Almost a week ago. And you didn't tell me? He pauses. Why? I was scared to tell you. He looks up towards her. I'm sorry to hurt you, baby, but it was not my intention. I was just trying to protect you. Protect me? From whom? She cried again. Jungkook, from your enemies? But you forget to protect me from yourself. She sobs while grabbing his collars as she shakes him lightly. Not having any more energy, she rests her head on his shoulder and cried silently. I'm sorry, I really am sorry for everything, Wan. Please trust me, I love you. Wan looks up as she shakes her head as no. He have already explained everything, why was he distant and why he said those words to her, but Wan was not ready to believe him. A year is a long time, Jungkook. Can you turn back time? I have not felt loved from your single action throughout the last year. What can we do now? Her face was expressionless while he was crying silently. I know I was a big baby, but please give me a chance to prove myself. Please, when I was never going to say this little one is a mistake. Never. I felt the happiest person alive on planet to know I'm going to be a dad. When chuckles vitally. Your script is really good, Jungkook, but I don't trust you anymore. When please don't say that, he begged. I really do love you. When expressions doesn't change. I believe in actions, Mr. John, not words. Then let me prove myself, he pleaded desperately when she shakes her head. Yes, no. I give you time. You didn't change. No, I can't do anything. Don't say it, please. 1 month. Give me a month to prove myself. I can't. I was more than enough. No, please, Van. Don't say it. Don't leave me. I can't live without you. After many more pleadings, Van finally gave him a month time to prove himself. A month later, the past month, Jungkook did everything to prove himself that he is not just a good person and a good husband, but a good and perfect soon to be a father as well. One can see his struggles, though she intentionally give him hard tasks and annoy him to core, but he never gives up even if she wakes him in the middle of the night for her food cravings. A month had passed already, but one was still not sure what to say and what decision she make. Either she trusts him now or not. Though you try to prove yourself, but still I don't fully believe you. But as for now, okay, I'm not leaving, she murmurs, and he smiles in triumph. But for your information, Mr. Mafia Jungkook, just a single wrong action and I will leave you and this home right away. And mark my words, Jungkook, he desperately nods its approval. Of course, baby, I promise I'll never give you any chance, and I promise I'll prove myself in every way. By nods, hiding, I smile. He probably have already proved himself in many ways, but she was sure she will give him a tough time. Thanks for watching.